Hello everyone, this is a instructional video on how to complete the CTE, how repeated head blows impact the brain assignment. So in Google Classroom, we'll go to classwork. This is going to be the third assignment. So I will scroll down. So here it is here under week 10. So you're going to use your learning from class to answer questions 1 through 5, and then watch the video to answer questions 6 through 10. So let's take a look. So this is what it should look like when you open it up. So questions 1 through 5 are true and false, and we'll go through those right now. And then questions 6 through 10, you'll watch the video, and then you can answer those on your own. So your name, which part of the nervous system is the brain a part of? Central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, direct nervous system, indirect nervous system. That's part of the central nervous system, and we talked about that. What part of the human body protects the brain? Rib cage, sternum, skull, or muscles? I think we could all agree that it would be the skull. True or false? Scientists know exactly how the brain works. We know a lot, but not everything, and not in exact details of what's going on. What molecule acts as a chemical messenger between neurons in the brain? Carbohydrates, DNA, RNA, neurotransmitter. Neuron, nervous system, those are all go together. So neurotransmitter is the correct answer there. Give an example of one neurotransmitter and what it signals in the human body. So adrenaline is one transmitter that signals the flight or fight response. You can do whichever one you did on your neurotransmitter profile page, that would work. Okay, so here's the video, how CTE affects the brain. I'll play it here. So there's the answer to the first one. What does CTE stand for? Chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Okay. What group of individuals are likely to have CTE? Check all that apply.
CTE has been associated with repetitive head impacts, that is, repetitive concussion and subconcussive injury in contact sport athletes, but also in military veterans.
So, contact sport athletes, combat soldiers, really anyone who receives repeated impact to the head. What happens to the brain when it experiences repeated blows is the next question we're trying to answer.
With repeated impacts to the head, the brain inside the skull ricochets back and forth. It goes forward, accelerates and decelerates, but it also goes rotationally. And that causes the brain inside the skull to actually elongate.
So, with repeated blows, the head, the brain, we'll say moves backwards and forwards, and also side to side, which causes the brain to elongate.
And stretch, and that stretching puts a lot of physical force on the individual nerve cells, especially the neurons and the axons.
I'll add a little bit here. stretches out the brain, right? And this puts a lot of stress on the neurons, right? So the cells of the brain.
And that can lead to the buildup of tau. Tau is a normal protein in the brain. And normally it's inside the nerve cell, and it contributes to what we call the cytoskeleton, or the skeleton of the cell. It helps hold up the cell shape under.
So tau is, so I'll answer this part first. Tau is a normally functioning protein in the brain that holds the brain, we'll say the neurons together. And let's listen to what happens when there's repeated impact to answer the second part.
Under abnormal circumstances, like after trauma, when the nerve cells are damaged, the tau actually comes off those off the skeleton. It comes off the microtubules, and it starts clumping up, and eventually it'll kill the cell if enough builds up over time.
Okay, so with trauma to the brain, the tau breaks off. If enough, we'll say if high levels right, which is not good. It can lead to cell death. All right, and I'll play the last part, and we'll be able to answer the last one.
An individual in his 40s, this is a former NFL player who is a person of large stature. You can see that the ventricles, the areas of the brain that contain spinal fluid, they're enlarged. This thinning gets to be damaged more than the ventral aspect. And that's something we've really only seen in CTE. We can see spaces near the hippocampus, which is a part of the brain that's important for learning and for memory. And we can see that there's been shrinkage there as well. To see this in such a young individual is quite startling. We see a lot of CTE lesions on the top and the lateral sides of the frontal lobes, which is about 2/3 of the forward part of the brain. That's what leads to the symptoms and signs of CTE. Loss of memory, some behavioral and personality change, and often mood changes like depression.
Okay, so that's going to be the last one there. So, memory loss, personality and mood changes, and depression are all symptoms of CTE. All right, so hopefully you have a good idea of what CTE is. It is very common, especially in NFL athletes. And so once you're done, you can hit submit, and I will grade it.